And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Every once in a while, I like to show off a toy or a puzzle, and in this instance, I'm showing off the Death Star Perplexus puzzle here. This Perplexus Star Wars, a lot of new Star Wars stuff came out. This may be the best thing. If you've never done Perplexus, it's essentially the old game of Labyrinth, where you twist it and try to make a ball go through a maze without falling in the holes, except here it's three-dimensional with sound effects, and it looks like a Death Star. I'm going to show it to you a little bit closer up. Alright, let's take a look at this sucker. You see it has a stand here. We're not going to need that stand anymore. On the bottom, you can turn on Darth Vader's breath and other sound effects. You can see that the red light turns on in the middle, which is pretty cool. And it has to come all the way down to the bottom here. Let's see if I can get it in there. It's hard to do this while demonstrating for the camera at the same time. So let me try to... Let's see if I can get this in there. There we go. Now, the way this works is it starts here, and I actually am not that impressed with how this started. The other ones I thought started easier, but other than that, it's pretty easy. If you've never seen one of these before, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to move it around the whole thing here, and that's going to happen three-dimensional. Now, as I do this, as you see, I'm going to have to turn this upside down, and meanwhile, it's making different sound effects. And I already dropped it off, and I have to start over again. So now, I'm not going to be able to do this whole maze on here for you, which is kind of a nice way of saying I wouldn't be able to do the whole maze anyway. Let's turn the sound off, and let's just take a look at some of the things in here. First of all, and this is the most fascinating part, you can see right here, there's an X-Wing. And I can see this X-Wing because you can maneuver it. Now this X-Wing has a magnet on the bottom of it. So at certain points you're going to have to pick the thing up from some spots and then fly throughout here while turning the ball so that the X-Wing actually doesn't hit other things, and then keep going until you drop it off on another spot. And so this moves it around, and then the ball actually rotates it the other direction. There's also a jump. I mean, eventually the whole thing is to get it into the core. You drop it into the core, and you win the game. And there's, explosions and such. I have not actually got it that far. But I thought that I would just show this to you guys. This is not necessarily a board game, but this is something that I really like. It's Star Wars, and it's a kind of puzzle that keeps me and my kids occupied. The Star Wars shape of this is unique. I've beaten regular Perplexes, but I've never beaten the hard one. And this one here, I don't know that I'll ever be able to beat it, but I like the fact it looks like a Death Star. This is good to have in my collection, and it gives me something fun to do, although it can be very frustrating. The X-Wing adds its own flair to this. That's in none of these other games. There's some cool drops and shoots into this that are new for this, but for the most part, it's just another version of Perplexus, but really well themed. And that's basically it. I wish I could show you guys better about how the whole thing works, but hopefully you can see through here and see some of the paths that it follows and just all the stuff that's inside it. It takes a good bit to beat this, I think. I don't think most people will be able to beat it. At first you have to figure out how it's done and then actually get it done. If you know someone who likes puzzles like this sort and likes Star Wars, this is an excellent gift, one I'd recommend. And even though my main forte is in board games, this is still something that caught my attention. I've played with this quite a bit. I like it a lot. Another winner in the Perplexus series.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.